Hello and welcome to a special crossover episode between the School Collective Podcast and the Boston School Psychs Podcast. On the School Collective Podcast, they bring together educators, innovators, and change makers who are creating meaningful change in education and mental health. On the Boston School Psychs Podcast, we spotlight the people, practices, and partnerships behind behavioral health in Boston Public Schools. I'm Tim. I'm here with Dr. Andria Amador, Senior Director of Behavioral Health Services from Boston Public Schools, along with our fellow school psychologists and hosts from the School Collective, Dr. Chris Ponce, Amy Shatila, and Brook Roberts. We are so excited to come together today as school psychologists from different spaces to share ideas, stories, and a few things we have learned along the way. So, to kick us off, why don't we start with introductions? Just a little bit about your background and your role. I will start. I'm Tim McIver, school psychologist. I was in the public schools as a full-time school psychologist for 10 years, and now I run schoolpsych.com and do part-time remote work for the Boston Public Schools, helping with their communications team. Andria, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Andria Amador. I'm the Senior Director of Behavioral Health for the Boston Public Schools. And I've had the pleasure of serving in a variety of roles at MISPA, the Mass School Psych Association, and at NASP. And I'm so happy to be here with our friends from far away. So I'll pass it to Brook.
Hi, everyone. Brook Roberts here. I'm in Texas, currently a newly minted Director of Special Services with a small school district outside of Austin. And I am a school psychologist by training, came to school psychology from social work, and I'm really excited to be here right now. Amy.
Yeah, I'm Amy Shatila. I am in Minneapolis Public Schools serving as a school psychologist. I actually started as a special education teacher. So I was a special education teacher for 5 years, wanted to know a little bit more about the background and the why. So got my school psych degree, and I've been doing this for the last decade. So very glad to be here.
I'm Chris and Tim. You sly little fox stealing our opening. I heard that. I knew that. How did you? So somebody listens to our podcast.
Yeah, I definitely listened to it. In fact, I have your
so
outro.
Much.
I have your outro in there too, just so you know. It's already
ready.
I
appreciate that. You should have told me that. That would have been a great surprise.
Of course.
I'm Christopher Ponce. I'm just a school psychologist, unlike all these other phenomenal individuals. And to be honest, school psychology is my first adult job. So before this, it was all hourly payment stuff. But now this is my first salary job. But I'm loving the crossover. I'm loving that we're able to come together. This is actually the second time that Brook and I have met with Dr. Amador, who was on a previous podcast that we hosted for our state association called Task Talks. So it's great to see you again and be able to have a nice conversation with you. And Tim, welcome to the School Collective Podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And you are never just a school psychologist. You are so much more, and you do so much for the field. Thank you for having us on. And
I am like funny cousin type. I have funny cousin energy. That's what I have. Right. So like building community and making you laugh. I'm good with my niche. So,
my cousin Eddie kind of vibes? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not as hairy as you, so I don't have that type of, energy. So just like the fun one that's like, oh, thank God Chris is here. Thanksgiving's going to be fun.
Thanksgiving. That's great. Well, for our first question, and thank you so much for, sharing your introductions, but for our first question, I was wondering if we could all go around sharing something we learned so far from hosting our podcast. It could be something meaningful about school psychology, mental health, or education, or even something funny and totally unexpected that stuck with you. And so I will start. We've interviewed almost all the NASP leaders by now, and we've also interviewed the BPS leaders as well in the school psychologist department. And what I've found across the board is that great leaders think outside the box when solving problems. And I'll give two examples of that. Eric Rawson, the executive director of NASP, said, how do we get the word out about school psychology? How do we spread better awareness? And he's partnering with actors such as Andy Garcia to create these productions and get the word out that way. And then we have Andria Amador talking about in the Boston Public Schools, how do we get the ratios better? How do we retain school psychologists? How do we grow our department? And she was able to get a grant that isn't really even meant for school districts. Usually it goes to hospitals or universities. And she was able to, again, think outside the box and get a grant specifically for the Boston Public Schools to help with things like retaining school psychologists and growing and training the school psychologists, mental health providers in general. So I will pass it over to Andria. What's one thing that you have learned so far from doing this podcast?
Well, years ago, Maurice Elias, an incredible individual that I consider a mentor, told me that we have to get better about explaining the work we do to people who aren't school psychs. And it's one of the reasons we were driven to create this podcast. We wanted to disseminate our outcomes and increase community communications about evidence-based practice and address that research to practice gap, but to do it in ways that people want to communicate. I don't know many school psychs who aren't university professors that sit down and have lots of time to read peer-reviewed journal articles, but they want to learn, they want to hear about the next best practice or how people are doing it. So I think we learn the best from having these practitioner to practitioner conversations. And so those were our hopes for creating the podcast. And we've just been blown away. Like Tim and John, who does it with us, will text and we're like, did you see how many people watched the preview clip? We've just been really pleasantly surprised that there's so much interest from a variety of stakeholders in the topics that we care about, which is helping make the lives of kids better through applied research and evidence-based practices and partnerships. So I think for me, what I've learned is that this is a good medium to raise awareness about the field and the information that all of us, this collective, wants to share. So it's been really exciting, and we're honored to join you guys in this group conversation.
Yeah.
I'll go next. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Amy. Go.
No, go for it, Chris.
I'm going to go the opposite of Tim, right? There's a lot of amazing people that we know and we know their names, but there's also amazing people that we don't know their names and are doing stuff in the States, in the trenches that you would never hear about. That's been a very personal thing for me, and a goal of mine on our podcast is to find individuals who are making a difference and are change makers and are policy makers and are leaders, but you would just never hear about because they're just in Paloma, right? Who is in, where is she? Nevada, correct, Amy?
He's in New Mexico. Yeah.
New Mexico. Oh, I knew it was close. It was in that area, right? We have Dr. Ashley Doss, who's out of Alaska, who's doing amazing stuff up there and creating programs for them. And that's been something that I've thought has been amazing. Also, we are trying to collect people from all 50 states. So now we can check off Massachusetts. I appreciate that. It's really just the entire reason why we're doing this. So, but that's my thing. Yeah. That's right. You're the flag. You're the little flag I'm going to pin on this map that I'm one day going to get.
Well, I was born in Maine, Chris, so I'm going to connect you with a Mainer because we need Maine represented. They're doing amazing things.
Thank you, Amador. I appreciate that so much.
I didn't know they were called Mainers.
Mainers. When you're a Mainer, that's what you're called.
Just like Well, I'll go next. I have enjoyed getting to talk with people from a lot of other related fields. Something interesting that I learned from an OT who came on is that OT is rooted in mental health, and that whole discipline came about to support mental health. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I'll be honest with y'all, I have been super excited to get to chat with y'all because one of my first or second NASP, there was a bunch of presentations by Boston, and I was still in graduate school, and I was going and listening to all the things that y'all are doing. And I remember hearing about high school and for school psychologists, and they had people transitioning from, back into school and how they were helping kids, just get in the door and seeing kids for who they are and being staffed appropriately to be able to do that. And that really has stuck in my head and in the different roles I've had in school psychology, really thinking about what is possible, because I think a lot of times we put ourselves in too small of a box because we're like, this is the way that it is in this state or this area. But getting to hear early in my career about what y'all have been doing has been really amazing. And so I've been following y'all for many, many years. So
Amy, I have to say real quick that I loved what you said on a previous episode about how every school psychologist needs an SLP bestie. Speaking of
yes.
the multidisciplinary connection, I just love the speech language pathologists that I've worked with over the years. And I feel like we all have our favorite SLP that we've worked with. And so,
Timothy, we are honored that you have listened to so much of our podcasts. We appreciate that.
of course,
It's
of
a lot of hard work
course.
to do these things and to
It is a
hear
lot of hard
people
work.
cite off stuff that we've talked about. Like,
Oh,
it's really
absolutely.
appreciated. I wasn't being snarky. I'm being
No,
honest.
no,
Thank you.
no. Of course, of course.
Oh, so it's my turn, huh? I have so much to say, and I think I'll just go with this one. Chris is always the first one to jump in and say something. He's always ready to follow up what one of our guests says. Amy is always pondering really great questions, and quite honestly, it's sometimes hard to get my question in or get a word in, and so I've from hosting this podcast, I've learned to be patient, but also really tried to focus in on my own listening skills, and listen to the stories that our guests have to share. And I think that helps me to really become more outwardly focused, and think about what kind of things can I bring in and harbor into my own practice and leadership style.
Brooke,
Um,
can I add something real quick? Because I don't want you to discount things. Brooke's questions usually when Brooke speaks on our podcast, and I'm not being snarky, it is profound. It is something that is very well thought out. It's well worded, and the answer is usually something that is far better than anything that I can ask or even bring up. So what Brooke contributes it to our podcast is something that is invaluable to me. That is why I've hosted 6 seasons of podcasts with you, and we brought on Amy for this one. I would not have anybody else by my side doing this stuff besides people that are on the collective.
Yeah, Brooke, if
Oh, I
it makes
love
you
you.
feel
I love
if
you.
it makes you feel better, I think the first thing I said to Chris was I really like Brooke's sense of humor on some of these episodes.
Yeah.
You bring great additions to the
Yeah.
episodes. So
Well, hey,
you guys are
hey,
so
I'm gonna
humble.
I'm gonna kind of pivot, I guess, a little bit here because the four of you share something in common that you probably don't know. But all four of you are working for a district that is recognized by the by NASP as an ESPIS, Excellence in School Psychological Services providers, and it's kind of like Andrea in many ways was. The lead of one of the first when Boston was first recognized as one of the first school districts in the country, and has kind of given birth to these others who have come along and followed in her path. So it's really quite nice to see this collective, this gathering here.
Well,
Thanks
thank
for
you, Brooke.
praising that. Yeah, I didn't realize that, it hadn't dawned on me that we represent the districts, but I had the honor of working with Brooke on the practice model committee. One of my many favorite NASP jobs was the practice model committee because I believe it is the essence of our field and it allows us to do that comprehensive work that kids deserve. So I'm a big fan, go PMC. And I was the chair of it when we developed ESPIS. And so I volunteered my district to be a pilot and say, let's run our district through it and see, how the experience is from the district perspective is also from the committee. And it's been a wonderful experience for us. And I would strongly, and I know Brooke will talk about it as well, recommend any district, even if you don't think the point is not to get the highest award. The point is to go through the process and use it almost as a self-evaluation tool to figure out where are your areas of strength, where is your areas of improvement. And it can be used for so much communication and advocacy, which I know we'll talk about here today too. So anyone who hasn't checked it out, look at the NASP website, check out the districts. They have a lot of great information to share, but go through the process and it will help you regardless of the stage you are in your development of adopting that practice model.
Can I ask a follow-up question, Andrea? Because I know you all started off as proficient, and then you became exemplary. What was something you all learned throughout that process? Because it was over a number of years, correct?
Yeah, when you get the award, I believe it's still 5 years, Brooke, that it lasts for 5 years, right? And then you reapply.
Yeah, that's correct.
So one of the things that was really interesting for me doing it is any one of the elements takes so much time to build, right? So to build a university training program takes years and lots of effort, right? So when we applied, we really had worked hard in all these areas for many years. And then we lost points on something, and anybody knows me knows I'm competitive enough that I'm going to remember this and fix it. We did not have a survey to get feedback from stakeholders about our work. And that's part of the practice model. And I'm like, really? Our whole work is kind of based on partnership. So I feel like I get feedback every day, all day long. And most school psychs probably feel that way. But we did not have that element. And so it really is a good reflection on thinking you spend a lot of work in one area, but to really be exemplary, you have to spend a lot of work in a lot of areas. And so I always tell someone, it just starts with the first step. Literally for us, the first thing we did was try to get better PD. And then we tried to improve climate. And then we tried to get a university student to come. And now we are APIC approved. We're the only doctoral training site in a school district in our state. But that took 15 years. And so there's a place that, a journey of 1,000,000 miles starts with the first step. And I think the practice model committee has put together so many awesome resources to help people on that journey.
You better believe if I wasn't rooted here in San Antonio that I would be trying to get out to Boston to do postdoc stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. So,
welcome, Chris. Anytime. Welcome.
Chris, didn't you just get your doctorate? This was pretty recent,
in
right?
December. Yeah, I walked the stage in this. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask, is there something specific with your doctorate that you intend on using it for?
I just took it. I just accepted an adjunct professor position at Texas Tech starting in the fall. So I'm super excited about that. I'm working on postdoc and studying for the EPPP, which is already the bane of my existence. I hate it so much. It's so much. There's so much content. I don't care about test construction. I understand I need to know about it, but it is just relearning and having to memorize all these things is so hard. But the intention is to keep my feet straddled in both schools and in the private world. I think there's I'm going to speak from Chris's experience. This is not the opinion of the School Collective podcast or anywhere I work or anybody else that's on this podcast. I have a lot of issues with private evaluations that come into our districts. I don't like the way they're written, and I don't like necessarily the content that's in there, and I don't think it's very robust. And I want to help change that. I want to be somebody that can give an evaluation to a family and help them out, but also give them content instead of just a diagnosis. I don't want to do that, but I also love the schools. I don't want to leave the schools. It is hard for me to leave it, to be honest with you. But I do want to do more, and I like teaching, and I want to be able to advance the field in my small contribution. My dissertation was on supervision. It is my biggest passion in the world. I love it so much. I'm working with Dr. Simon and Dr. Swerlick out of Illinois to try to bring a supervision credentialing program to the state of Texas. We're actually using fall because I'm teaching a supervision class to doctoral students on how to be good supervisors. I'm actually using that as a pilot to try to see if I can work out some kinks out of it. So I'm super excited about that as well. But I need to pass this EPPP first. So that's my first and foremost focus.
Wow. And you started with, I'm just a school psychologist, guys.
Yeah. Well, I also have really bad ADHD, so I have to keep myself constantly busy.
Very humble, Chris. The three of you are just all phenomenal. It's just such a pleasure to be talking with you about school psychology today. It feels almost like a mini NASP before NASP. It's like a preview of getting to talk with a whole bunch of school psychologists at the upcoming convention in Chicago, which I'm really excited about.
Okay, but what about
can I ask you guys?
Didn't you create a game that's like a school psych Wordle kind of thing?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It was the most
Don't-
nerdy thing I've done.
No. Not for our listeners. Go ahead, Tim.
Oh my gosh.
You need to explain this.
Okay, real quick. When Wordle was at its like peak, which was I think a little bit after COVID, I found a website that could create your own Wordle games, and I said, "Oh man, I've got to do this for school psychology." And then we had like competitions and things like that, and so yeah, we were giving away $100 prizes. It's all very nerdy, but we did one for all the New York Times crossword puzzle type games, crossword puzzles, Wordle, and then connections. And so I'm big into those. So it's just a fun way to bring school psychology into some of my other hobbies.
No, that's great. I have a group, one of your guests, Carmen, Maria, Needham, um, and a few other people. We have a group, and yeah, we're still playing Wordle every day and connections every day.
Me too.
Some
Me
commitment,
too.
brother. So I have a question for our Boston folk. So I know why we started our podcast. We all like to talk, and so we just decided to record it. Why did you guys start your gig? Like, what was the catalyst for this?
Really, we have received a variety of private and state and federal grants, and all of them have had an element of addressing the research to practice gap and then disseminating outcomes. So we've been very committed. We have a research committee in our department, which is atypical to have a school psychologist-led research committee within a school district, right? Usually research is led by the universities, and sometimes they include us. We really wanted to turn that around and have it led by the district to answer the district's needs. And so in doing that research, we needed to find ways to disseminate that. And through the years, we've done peer-reviewed journal articles, general education journal articles. We've done interviews and presentations. And we're like, there's got to be another way to reach more practitioners. And as more and more people were listening to podcasts, interested in podcasts, we said this might be a new, exciting, way to disseminate our outcomes and keep our funders seeing the impact that we can have, right? Because when you're trying to apply for a federal grant, they're very competitive, and the collective work you've done plays into some of the grants. And so we thought this would be a new dissemination idea. And luckily, Tim was our grad student so many years ago, and we've stayed in touch, and I knew his incredible skill set, and he was willing to come help us learn how to do it. And we've been planning it for a year and then launched it in the summer.
That's awesome. It's hard to launch it. It's hard to do that first episode, right? Because you get a little nervous, and you're like, what if nobody listens to this?
Not really. Tim and I are pretty confident people. We're like,
sorry, just me then. I just have the anxiety about it.
Well, we're not arrogant. Well, I guess, I don't know. Bostonians are a little bit arrogant, but we're more, for me, it was just wondering if people would be interested, but there's no fear in public speaking because it's something like we do a lot.
That's fair.
Do a ton of presentations. But what did you think, Tim?
No, I agree. I think we were having like an ideas meeting where we were just trying to get the word out about all the great things Boston Public Schools school psychologists are doing, and because it's such a comprehensive role there, it looks very unique. And so that was just one of many ideas. And next thing you know, we've got like 20 podcast episodes recorded. It's like something we're very proud of.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore of guests you haven't had? Just one person. Just one person.
Peter Faustino would be awesome to have. I know he was on your one of your episodes that I listened to, and he's just such a fun guy to talk to. Him and John Kelly, both NIASP presidents, and then went on to be NASP presidents. They're just such fun guys who are super passionate about school psychology. But really, any of the NASP presidents are phenomenal, and just have a tremendous amount of respect for them.
I have a lot of heroes, and many of them are in the school psych world. So those are folks that we're going to reach out and ask. But I will say it was an incredible honor to have Stacy Skalski and Kathy Cowan. Their podcast will be coming out soon because I I really owe so much to those two incredible ladies who really have changed the field of school psychology for all of us, right? They were pivotal in Stacy released the practice model that Brooke and I were part of. She was part of PMC. She was part of the PPI and the public policy stuff. Like, I feel like everything good in my school psych life, Stacy had a hand in developing. And then Kathy taught us how to communicate. And so, yeah, I'm not nervous because, I've been trained by Kathy Cowan. And so two of my school psych heroes we've already had, and then we got a few more coming up. But I was also super excited that Carmen and Amber from Said No School Psych Ever and friends from NASP were on because they touched the lives of so many people. We've just been very honored to have a lot of people that we've had long-term integrated partnerships with be willing to do this with us. So, and I'm keeping
It's great, isn't it?
Behind. Yeah, you're going to have to listen, Chris.
It makes you feel good when they say yes, right? You're like, we like come on the podcast, and like, yeah. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Amy, Brooke, is there somebody that we haven't had that you guys?
I mean, for me, because our podcast is really looking at the people who support, I really want to bring on some more of our community members who are doing work to support our families outside of the schools so that our kids come to school already feeling more of those supports and ready to learn. And, we had someone lined up to come. And then in Minneapolis, things have been a little intense the last couple of months. So they have understandably needed to focus their energy elsewhere. But yeah, that's who I'm really looking forward to hearing from, because I do think there's a lot of great advocacy and organization and things to learn from people in the community who are doing some of that work.
I agree.
I don't know that there's anybody that is like on my bucket list, because really every time we have an episode, it's somebody who is just engaging and is doing really meaningful work. So I don't know. I don't think I have anybody out there. How about you?
Oh, you just made me think of someone, Brooke.
Who's that?
It's like an impossible dream, so we're not going to try, but I would love Elena Alcalar. She has really helped our psychologists be better facilitators. So if anybody knows her,
Andria, I give everybody who is in my life and who says, I just want to be a better coach. I said, okay, you need to listen to me. Andria Amador told me to buy you the book, The Art of Coaching. And I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to give it to you because it's so powerful. And I think that's one thing that I've learned from you is you can have leadership ability, but if you really want to be a great leader, you're going to have to work at it. It is not something that comes haphazardly. And since I gleaned that from you, just being able to be direct and forward about how a leader has to be working on their craft.
Yeah, let's all as a group try to get her. She's impossible dream. Let's do it.
Yeah. I have an impossible one and a one that I really want. That's a situational one. I just got to find the person. So the impossible one is Dr. Adam Grant.
I knew you were going to say that.
I love this man so much. I'm like blind, like, it reminds me of like Patriots fans. I'm just blindly loyal to them. Like, he could just do no wrong in my eyes. But we tried to get him on the Task Talks podcast, and then I found out how much, and then we couldn't. So that's how I know we won't be able to get him. But my real one, this is a situational one, and I should have gone first because you guys gave very inspirational answers. But mine is, I just want somebody who has escaped from a cult. I'm fascinated by that and the psychology behind that. And I would love to have somebody on and talk about that.
Chris, I think I know someone.
Do not mess with me, Amador. You better know somebody.
But I'm not going to name
My
it
heart is
here,
fluttering right now.
In Chicago, let's talk.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Are you all going to NASP?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Oh man, that's going to be great. Well, I hope to see you at the welcome party. That's one of my favorite parts. I'm not sure if you guys usually go
Yeah.
to that. Maybe all five
Tim,
of us
we saw
can.
each other last year at the welcoming
I know.
party.
That's right.
What are you talking about, man? What's the theme
Maybe
this year?
all five of us will do a quick little meetup there. I think that
Yeah.
would be fun.
Is there a theme this year?
Chris did have an idea a few years ago about putting a proposal in for like a panel session on podcasts and school psychology and this kind of stuff. So that
Yeah.
may be something that we look to do next year.
Great idea.
We thought about it for TASP, right? We thought about for TASP a number of years ago, and then we just couldn't get, honestly, our ducks in a row to do it. It was really just a failure of a person, which is me, to put it together. But I do think it would be fascinating. I do think there is wealth in what we do, and there's knowledge and there's value in it. And we clearly have listeners who enjoy hearing us for some reason. So to have a panel and talk about, and maybe just have a moderator talk about the nuances of podcasting and just talking and having conversation, I do think there's something there, personally.
Chris, I wanted to answer your question. There is no theme for the welcome party this year. And they tried, they said something like you could wear your favorite concert t-shirt or just wear something casual or chic. Like they couldn't commit to it like they did last year.
You got to commit to something.
Year, it was 90s. It was Seattle. It was, that alt rock where, Nirvana was born. And of course the band only played one 90s song, so they didn't get the memo. But
I think the best one
Under
was New Orleans.
Yeah,
what was it?
New Orleans.
Yeah,
was
the
just
crew
New
from
Orleans.
New Orleans.
It was Mardi Gras.
Yeah, they did an awesome job. Whoops, we have the world's cutest guest. I'm sorry.
Oh,
hello. And who would you like on your podcast? Here, since we do have NASP coming up, and we have varying experiences with NASP, I want everybody to say what the very first NASP they went to was, and what's maybe a favorite memory they've had from the conference. And I'll go first since I asked it, because I was already thinking about it. Very first one I went to, I don't remember the year. It was in Orlando. It was at one of the Disney World hotels. The Dolphin. Yes. Which meant my entire cohort went because it was there. I was at UTSA for my master's, and if we were presenting, we could all get grants to pay for the trip. So every single one of us got on a presentation. So my entire cohort was doing a poster or jumping on a paper with somebody or doing a presentation with our professor. So our entire cohort got to go. And it was such a bonding experience. I still remember that to this day. Like just being with my school family and our professors and bonding, and we came back very tight. And I'm still very, very close friends with many of these people. And this is over 10 years ago.
Yeah. My first was DC in 2014. And like the rest of the graduate students, yes, I was on a poster. I think I presented every year in grad school so I could go. But my favorite memory actually has nothing to do with NASP. It was when we were in Chicago in 2018, maybe. Was that the last time it was in Chicago? I think so. Anyway, a bunch of us got together and went and saw Hamilton there. And that was the first time I got to see Hamilton, and did it with, 15 other school psychs, some of whom I knew and some of whom I didn't. And we still have a group text thread going all these years later.
That's beautiful. That's awesome.
I don't remember my first. Is that bad?
Oh, stop. Jesus, come on.
I honestly don't remember, but I'm a little bit older.
I expect that from Brooke, not from you.
Yeah, but I will say my favorite, I clearly remember, oh my gosh, there's been a couple, and much like you, Amy, it's all about the networking and the getting to see your friends from around the country. It's like summer camp, and you get to see them once a year, and you're so excited. And the silly shenanigans you do when you're with your friends and not having to be responsible. And so one of them was the day that I met Dr. Achilles Bardos from the BIMAS 2. And his former grad student, who then became one of my best friends in life. And it all happened because of NASP. And since then, Dr. Bartos is a very close partner of our district, and we've adopted the BIMAS too. But it all happened like in a hallway in NASP, and you meet someone and you don't know they're about to change your life, really. So I guess that would be my favorite.
How about you, Tim?
Brooke.
Oh, okay, I'll go.
You want to go last?
Yeah. I think it was 2008 in New Orleans. And it was, I mean, it was great. It was a great conference. But I think it was the first time I was ever in a hotel that you push the number of the floor on the outside of the elevator and it tells you which elevator to get in. And I was just amazed. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the coolest thing. Like, how come they waited so long to invent this?
Yeah. 2008 was a great year of high school for me.
That was the conference where I found a drunken grad student at a restaurant who had been left behind. He was like a little duckling left behind by his group. And he was so drunk, I don't drink, for people that don't know. So I then became not only like the designated walker for my group of people who were enjoying themselves, I then adopted this grad student for like 3 hours until he finally found someone that knew him and took him away. That was that
Bad,
same
bad
conference.
cohort. You got to watch out for your crew. You can't do that.
Well, maybe he was a crew of one.
No, he's a lone wolf.
Yeah,
Was it you, Brooke?
I saw him the next day at a Mardi Gras parade in a very similar state with a friend. And I'm like, did you not learn anything yesterday? And I don't think he knew who I was or why I was criticizing him on the street. Like,
This lady keeps talking to me.
oh gosh.
What do you got, Tim?
So sorry if you can hear some background noise, but there is a cricket in my room right now, and it is so loud. And I've been trying for like an hour before this to get it out, but
He just wants to give us his opinion on the topics.
Yeah, we've got a cameo from a cricket in my room right now. But anyways, my first was Philadelphia, and my favorite memory was my first ever New Orleans because it was Mardi Gras, of course, the day that I went. And I just remember I didn't know, like, I had no experience with Mardi Gras. And so the taxi driver couldn't even get me to the hotel because, like, the Mardi Gras parades were in full effect. But by that point, it was like past the point of everyone being like coherent. Like, it was like getting a little bit rowdy by the time I had gotten there. Like, the airports were filled with people who were like passed out on benches. It looked like a
God.
war zone when I got out to the sidewalk when the taxi driver let me out. I couldn't get to the hotel because it was just packed with people on the sidewalks. And I'm just trying to bring this like huge suitcase through all these swarms of people. And this crazy drunk guy kicks my suitcase and says, "Get out of my city." And so it was like the craziest introduction to New Orleans and Mardi Gras. But then, I went out that night with a few friends and we experienced our first Mardi Gras, and it was just the best. It was just so much fun.
That's hilarious. Get out of here, kid. It's
Yeah.
not my luggage.
That was my intro to New Orleans. Oh my goodness.
So I know we all kind of have served in advocacy roles in different ways. And I do think, I'll speak for myself when I say that the four of you have done great in advancing our field in some way, shape, or form. Is there somebody that is maybe not necessarily an advocate, but somebody who you have seen try to push our field and progress our field that you have looked up to throughout your career that kind of inspired you? Or you maybe inspire is a strong word, but at least maybe kind of pushed you down that route. Like, for me, it really is Brooke. Like, Brooke and I have been friends for a very long time. I consider him one of my closest, if not my closest non-wife friend. I still remember my first TASP, the Texas Association of School Psychologists, TASP. My first board meeting I ever went to when I got on the board. There weren't a lot of men, so I chose to have a roommate because if nobody else wanted a roommate, I wouldn't have a roommate, and I would get a big room to myself. And lo and behold, there was only one other guy who wanted a roommate, and it was this sucker, Brook Roberts. So I was told, "Oh, you're going to be sharing a room with Brooke." I'm like, "Who's Brooke?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Brooke. You'll meet Brooke. He's fine." And so Brooke doesn't show up the first day. He shows up late the second day. This is past President Brooke. So like he's just doing his own thing. He's webmaster, whatever that means in 2019. He rolls in and I'm sitting next to one of my friends like, "Oh, that's Brooke. That's your roommate." And he just kind of just sat by himself in a corner and was on his computer the whole time doing something or another. And then we all go out to eat dinner that night. It's like the board dinner. And Brook, I was like, oh, Brook went to Texas Tech. He's a professor at Tech. At this time, he worked at Tech. And I am a giant Chiefs fan before Patrick Mahomes. I need to preface that. I've been a Chiefs fan for over 20 years. So, and at the time, my wedding ring was actually, my wife got me a Chiefs band as a wedding ring. So I went to go show Brook, and then we struck up a conversation. And then we just roomed together every single night, every single board meeting after that. And I just remember one night. Oh, go ahead, Amy.
I have a question. Tech is in Texas and the Chiefs are in Kansas. So what is that?
Patrick Mahomes went to Texas Tech. He was the quarterback for Texas Tech.
Person.
No,
okay,
you're fine. I should preface that. Thank you. And then I just remember like just staying up late in our rooms with Brook while everybody else was at the pool or at the bar and just talking and just having conversations. And, you know, when you get two ADHDers together in a room, nothing ever sticks, but we throw a lot of stuff against the wall. And so just hearing him talk about, no, you should do that. Like he's very much an enabler, but like a professional adult one. Like so like when I'd say like, you know, I really want to like do something great or go to a doctoral program. Yeah, you should do that, man. You should try out for these things. And Brook was the person who kind of gave me the courage and inspired me to do a lot of stuff in my career. So I appreciate, I try to embarrass Brook as many times as possible, either by his old age or by saying something super nice to him where he has to sit there and take it. It is one of my favorite things.
Sweet. And you're just giving me goosebumps and chills.
I got like little kids now, man. I'm all in the feelings. So like, but I just want to say, Brook, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Here's
and it's allergies. I'm not like crying, like just so we all know. So does anybody want to follow that one?
No.
I had to follow with cult person on my podcast while you guys said inspirational people. So
how about you, Andrea?
Well, that's hard to follow. And I'm all about people expressing gratitude and love publicly in front of people. I don't think we do it enough in our culture. So shout out to you, Chris, for being vulnerable and sharing love. And that's really important. We have a leadership cohort in our department because we believe in really intentionally building leadership. And one of the quotes, it just happened to be last night, that I found that I shared with the group is, if you turn to your right and help the person next to you, you're a leader because you're taking action to help someone else. And so we truly believe that leadership and equity are about action. So if I'm going to say, like, I already told you how much I just absolutely adore Stacy Skalski. So I'll give her another shout out, but I'll say I'm really impressed by the leadership happening in our state associations. Those are the people that aren't getting credit. They're not like, getting NASP awards necessarily or a lot of attention, but they're changing the field in very powerful, meaningful ways for the people that they serve. And they work so hard. And all of us here have been on state association. So we know the level of work that goes in, but they're the ones getting the laws changed at the state level, right? Funding. They're helping school psychs in districts who don't have any support or mentoring or resources. And I could go on. And I think we all could give examples about the leadership that's shown by just an average volunteer. And sometimes, folks, I'm sure you guys have had this experience where people will say, who am I to advocate? I'm not a professor. I'm new to the field. How can I contribute? Every single school psych, there's something that you could do on your state board that's changing the field. And just by helping change one thing, whether it's a conference, a session, supporting, being a mentor, you're a leader. You're a leader. And I think our state level leaders are really what's changing the field of school psychology because they're taking that research to practice gap and they're making it happen. So shout out to all the boards of all of our state associations.
I'm so glad you said that, Andrea, because it really made me think about somebody who I'm not real close to anymore, but is a dear friend. And she is driving our state association in some ways. And her name is Kamika, and she's a Black school psychologist. She's a single mother. raising two young boys, and she is committed to the profession, but she's also committed to moving this profession in ways that we need to make amends for things that have been done wrong, and she is calling out those things and calling people into changing their ways. And I'm so proud to know her, and I'm a good friend of Amy's, and
Yeah.
such a wonderful person. So I'm so glad to what she is doing to move our field forward.
Yeah, she's one of those people who just decides, like, this needs to happen, and she just plans it and carries out the whole thing in, like, 3 months, something that many of us would take years to plan and coordinate. She's just yeah, she's moving things. I agree with you, Brooke. She's incredible. Um, I was thinking about 2 of my former professors, Dr. John Lasser and Dr. Desiree Vega. I still keep in very close touch with them. I love both of them for the work they do professionally. Dr. Lasser really taught me a lot about listening and chilling out a little bit. But one of the things that I really appreciate about both of them is they both have other passions that they're not afraid to talk about and pursue in addition to school psychology. And I think that's really important because a lot of us we're passionate about this, which is why we came into the field. And I also see people burning out and talking about like, there's no way I can do my whole career in school psychology. It's too exhausting, right? And so I think it's really great to have some role models who, Dr. Vega will talk about salsa dancing and travel, and Dr. Lasser co-wrote a kid's book with his daughter and loves researching Bob Dylan and has for like 30 years, right? And so when I call them and talk to them, and I still do clinical consults and things with them, we talk about that, but then we also talk about our other interests. And I think, yeah, that's been really important for me to just have role models that are people outside of just the job.
That's a great
That's a good
point.
one.
Yeah.
Tim and cricket.
Yes, it's still going. The cricket's still going. Oh, it stopped. So I think
Yeah.
this is a perfect time to answer the question. By the way, Dr. Vega's awesome. Great answer, Amy. But yeah, Dan Florell for me. So when I came into the field, I was all about technology in school psychology. That was my big thing. And Dan really helped guide me a lot, especially in the early years, trying to figure out my way and seeing him do the exact things that I was interested, things like technology and school psychology, ethics, cyberbullying. He was all over that stuff. And then I was also super interested in doing podcasts. And so we started doing the NASP Dialogues podcast together. And we always get breakfast every year at NASP to catch up. Still very good friend of mine to this day.
I love that. I love that. That was so great. And I hope all those people listen and feel inspired by us. Brooke has to listen. He's on the damn thing. But all right. So I do know we are coming towards the end of our episodes because you can hear both of our episodes on each other's podcast. So after you're done listening to it on the one you're currently listening to it, hop on over to the other one and give them a listen too, because we both like the listens and the algorithm will help us. So the more you listen, the more you rate us, the more you give us reviews, we bump up in the algorithm. But on the School Collective, when we have our guests, we like to finish every episode with fun little questions that have nothing to do with psychology or school or education. So I would like to ask those to Tim and Andrea. And I've also added some new ones for our special crossover. So these are not one.
Nervous, Chris.
No, it's okay.
I'm nervous about podcasts. I'm nervous about speed answering questions that I don't know.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We'll go Tim first, and we'll jump over to you, and then we'll start with you. We'll like snake draft it. Okay. So Tim will go first. What is a movie that makes you cry every time? Oh, sorry, not emotional.
No. Like every time, like when the dog dies in a movie, like the animal movie.
Oh, Marley and Me.
Yeah, like Marley and Me. Like there was a movie called A Dog's Life, and it just kept showing like new dogs' lives, and then they kept dying. I cried like 4 times because each time the dog died,
Make it stop.
Cry. I was like, this is the saddest movie. Like I'm just such a big animal lover. Yeah, any animal movie, just immediate waterworks.
That's a good one. Amador?
I intentionally do not watch movies to make me cry because I feel like our jobs are hard enough. Why do I want my entertainment to make me sad? So I intentionally pick movies that I like murder mysteries and they don't make me cry. So, and I'm not a big crier. Let me think. If a dog died, I'd cry. I'm with Tim. Or
Okay.
a cat. If a cat died, I'd cry.
That's a good one. All right, we're going to start with you on this next one.
Okay.
Do you do sock, sock, shoe, shoe, or sock, shoe, sock, shoe?
Like any typical person, sock. That's easy.
Same.
All right,
Sock, socks, shoe, shoe. Definitely.
Okay. We're going to find the sock, shoe person, and it's going to surprise all of us, and we're all going to think differently of them. All right, Tim, what is a non-psych or professional hobby you have? So it can't have anything to do with your job.
Sure. I played tennis all my life, so that's a big one.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. Andrea?
I love to travel. I have a travel channel. That's what I call it. I have a travel channel. I'm a social media influencer of like 12 people. Most of them are my aunts. But please, follow my travel channel, which I haven't made public, so nobody actually can. But I create lots of content that I don't dare to share people. So that when I win the lottery, you'll see my travel channel.
So excited for that. All right, I got 3 more. They're all pretty quick answers. All right, Andrea, who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Oh, that's easy. Tom Selleck. Of course.
I mean, childhood. You kidding me? All through his entire lifespan.
He still continues to rock it. Oh, yeah. And I love The Rock too, but that's something. That's another conversation, Chris.
Tim.
Britney Spears.
Oh, I love it. I have a new one that I remember the other day. I've been saying the pink Power Ranger Kimberly from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Laura Dern from Jurassic Park. 100%. I forgot about that one. All right. These are 2 new ones I've never asked before, so you guys are going to be our litmus test for these. All right, Tim. Should Navy SEALs be ticklish?
I mean, sure. If you find out the BUDS training, all the crazy training they have to do to become a Navy SEAL, they're allowed to be ticklish.
Is it endearing? Because I don't want them to give out secrets because of a big feather.
Listen, it's something I haven't put much thought into, but I'll let that one pass.
I've clearly thought too much about it. Amador, what do you got?
Still let them be a Navy
SEAL.
SEAL.
The opposite. I would say they're humans, so they probably have that natural reaction, but they're trained to not respond to it. They're very highly trained.
It is true. I like that. Okay. I'm glad you guys both answered that differently because it makes me feel good. All right. My last one. Should you be automatically disqualified from the CIA if you have ever fallen for a surprise birthday party?
Yes, it's so obvious. I haven't seen a good one pulled off. So yes, if you can't figure that out, get out of here.
What do you got, Tim?
No, I mean, come on. There could be somebody who's really good at throwing surprises.
I love that. I love the optimism from you.
Yes.
Tim's also very nice and gracious, so he would forgive anyone for even the worst mistakes. So if they were a bad party planner, he'd still say, like, it was so kind that you tried to do that for me.
Yeah, I get it.
You're absolutely right, Andrea. You're absolutely
right. Well, you have been witness to the connection and the marriaging of our 2 podcasts, and I cannot thank Tim and Andrea more. I just love that you guys we were able to connect and have a conversation and be here and just talk with each other. So thank you guys from the School Collective. Amy and Brooke, is there any last words? Not because of anything bad's going to happen. Poor choice of words.
No, see you in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to put a plug in. Thank you, Brooke, for reminding me. We have 5 sessions at NASP. If you want to learn more about the work of the Boston School Psychs, please visit our 5 sessions. And if you're interested in leadership and supervision of school psychs, please join me for the interest group session, which will be, I think, on Tuesday. So come find us all at NASP. We'll be there and would love to share more information. And you can find our sessions on our website, bostonschoolpsychs.com.
Beautiful. And thank you for listening to this special crossover episode between the School Collective Podcast and Conversations with the Boston School Psychs Podcast. We love bringing our communities together for this conversation. Be sure to check out both of ours to learn more about our work. And until next time, take care, stay curious, and as always, good listening.